Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the MoneyGarden. Good morning, happy Wednesday everyone. And today I really wanted to talk about something that sometimes maybe is controversial, I don't know. But well, this is my opinion on it and I'd like to share that. So the title of this episode is Feminism Redefined. I believe we don't talk about it enough. That there is a lot of women, we want to advance women's issues. We want to advance women's empowerment. We want to talk about what women want to do. But what I see a lot of the time, sometimes women are kind of careful about how they want to address what they want to talk about because they don't want to be labeled a feminist, right? Because in the past, some approaches, and I'm emphasizing here some, not all feminists, not all the time. I'm not generalizing the movement itself, but I am saying some. At times in the past, feminism was somehow spoke against men. It was very anti-men. It was somehow that we are advancing women's issues by putting men down, and most women don't feel that way. Maybe some do, but most women don't. And even women that are feminist in the sense that they want to, like myself, I'm absolutely so passionate about women's empowerment and helping women become their best self and live their best life and go for their goals and go for their dreams and speak up, and more importantly be courageous enough and comfortable enough to be themselves, to love themselves, accept themselves, because this is one of the biggest obstacles as women that we have is our doubts, our fears. We don't think we're good enough. We're constantly judging ourselves worse than anyone else, and certainly that holds us back. So what is the opposite to it, right? It's helping us overcome those barriers, right? And certainly I for sure, it's never about men. I never talk about, I always talk about what we can do as women, what are our own. I always talk about, and I actually focus on looking internally. So if we have any blockers, don't look externally how to remove it. Always look internally, because they are the biggest blockers. And yes, are there some men out there who, they have all these notions or views of what a woman's job is or whatever? Yeah, they're probably there. There's always going to be all kinds of people in the world, right? There's going to be, but we have to focus on ourselves and how we move forward. So I really want to make sure that I think it's time for us as women to redefine feminism, that we can use the word feminist or feminism without necessarily feeling guilty about it, without necessarily feeling any kind of shame, or without necessarily evoking some kind of a bad emotion from others that listen to it, right? Because a lot of times it's just saying the word, it evokes some kind of negative connotation or negative emotion from somebody. Like I would just see people's faces sometimes when I use the word feminism. All I have to do, people don't even have to say anything. All I have to do is just look at their faces, and I can immediately see, like, you will see all these somehow negative emotions with it, among men and women both, right? So I believe it's really, really, really time that we redefine feminism. And more specifically, why I wanted to talk about this is because I noticed something, like, for example, when I post on my social media, when I post like a picture, like I got my hair done, rarely happens, but I like to do it. Or, something when I look better, or I talk about something very superficial, I said, or on a beach, or I'm somewhere in a nice place, I get a lot of likes. People like it, people comment, it's all good. And then I post something a little bit more profound, right? Something the other day I posted, and this quote says, "Educate a man, we educate an individual. Educate a woman, we educate a nation." And I think it got like 3 likes or something. And again, I'm certainly not one to be tied to likes, but from a perspective of seeing what resonates more, like what are people more likely to, go for, when something so profound comes along, people kind of stay away from it. And just because the likes wasn't high, I'm not saying people didn't like it. I'm saying like people even chose to not even give an opinion necessarily. Although some may argue by the fact that they didn't like, they gave their opinion saying they didn't. Yeah, I'll accept that. That's possible. But I'm like, why? Why is that? Because this is actually a very profound notion. This is not an anti-man. It's just the truth. Women by nature, it's true. Every time you see a woman, when she's always looking, like even in a corporate world, right? In generally, and I emphasize the word generally, right? There are a lot of exceptions. There are a lot of amazing men also that always look out more for the community. But even in my corporate job, generally when I saw men, they were very focused on advancing their career. It's about them. It's what they can do. Of course, they take care of their families, right? But certainly not the whole community necessarily. It was always about advancing their career, how they can be better. How am I going to be smarter if I do that? When we educate a woman or we provide women with more opportunity, then she will always come back and she will always think about her community. How can I help others? How can I help my community? How can I go back to where I come from if it's a small village? And how can I help that village come up, right? They always look at, now I learned this stuff and now I'm bettering myself. And how can I use all these blessings that I received for the betterment of my community? And I think that's true, though. I mean, it's true. But why are we staying away from phrases like that? Or why are we staying away from statements so profound like that? And we shouldn't feel bad about it. I think it's true, and I think it's time for us to redefine feminism, to be very comfortable of using the word when defined in the right terms, right? That it doesn't mean it's not an anti-man thing, and it shouldn't be an anti-man thing. Just because we're supporting women's issues, women's empowerment, bringing up women, that doesn't have to mean that somebody else has to be put down. It just means we're helping this. It's kind of like this whole win-win concept of, there's so many situations that we can build a business and we can build wealth and we can make a difference in the world without necessarily somebody else losing, just following the win-win concept. I certainly use that every day in my life. Like if I will not take part in anything that in order for me to win, someone else has to lose, I simply won't take part in it. So getting off topic a little bit, but just going back and summing it up, it's true. I absolutely 100% believe it's true. When we educate a man, we educate an individual. When we educate a woman, we educate a nation, because women by nature, they're always more likely to come back and use their blessings, use their knowledge, use their opportunities, use their voice to help their community and to help everyone else around them, versus men in general are more likely to just focus on how they can advance their own agenda or their own life, So I don't know, some of you may agree with this, some of you may disagree. I always welcome your comments, suggestions. Feel free to let me know what your thoughts are, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys on Friday. Thank you.